And we're all here. Wonderful. Welcome, welcome. Steve, I think of you when I get my flower arrangement, when I manage to get it in time. I've got two gladiolas blooming, so I brought one of them inside to enjoy. So welcome and thank you for being here. Let's get the lay of the land. What will we be doing today? You could stay seated for the whole time today. Always an option to lie down. For many of us, lying down on the ground and being supported, having our backs supported, and just having that time to let go so fully is such a treat and so restorative. Just that simple thing. So you're welcome to do that. You're welcome to choose the position you'll be in. Our movement may be a little movement with the arms. So seated, any you can do from any position. Maybe some movements with the legs and hips, and then a little bit of breathing before we get quiet, more still and quiet. What else to share with you? Yes, be comfortable. All right, I'll start our practice with a bell and a bow, acknowledging our community, our time together, the power of this. Oh, and I do want to welcome somebody who registered whose name is new to me, Alexa. Welcome. You might be watching later. Nancy will be watching later. And all of you who come later, you are in spirit with us, and it's having this support is incredibly powerful. We need each other. We're programmed to be social, and for our well-being, we need both the friction we get from each other and the joy. We need all of it. It smooths us out, enlivens us. And so we are right here. And just shift notice what's happening in your attention. This great power we humans have, and I'm borrowing some words today from my teacher Russell Delman's recent talk with our embodied life community. There's there's a way we can know what we're doing with our attention, become more conscious of that. This call to practice together, and the words I've used, the bell, may already be bringing you more to just experiencing what's right here, right now. Which might be your breathing, the feel of the ground, and the body's positioning and in relation to the ground. It might be the sounds near you. There's a pretty steady flow of air conditioning next to me. And just that invitation to sound may be unfolding, even very subtly, this way that we're both aware of our internal state and our external surroundings simultaneously. And sometimes our attention is, well, often our attention is like that camera lens. The focus of the camera lens can be more open, more closed. And I'm not an expert in photography, but we can zoom out, zoom in. We can maybe make things, I don't know, there's maybe ways of controlling the light aperture as well that changes what we are focused on, and so what we're perceiving and what we're in sense, it's what we're imbibing, what we're ingesting, because that's what we're focusing on. And so when we sit together quietly and just recognize being here, experiencing this moment, in this moment, which is all that we really can. We can think about the past and future, but really only be right here. We kind of open up that wide open, boundless awareness, and we can become more aware of what we're choosing to focus on. And I'll say a little bit more about that, or maybe read a poem that is speaking to me today. But let's just take our hands up and turn your palms. You have to move back a little. Turn your palms down. So your arms are up, but your palms are facing down. But your elbows can be extended. And slowly, just very slowly, you can imagine that the hands are resting on a surface of water, and the water's draining just very slowly. And we're following, it might be way above your head, but as you get even with the top of your head and the forehead, you can feel that same level across the body. And just very slowly bringing the water level down. Breathing, staying comfortable. And this has instead of telling you what the effect will be, I'll let you experience it. Perhaps breath is becoming a little more prominently felt. Just taking the water level down. Mine's about at my waist now. Take your time. If you're going slower or a little faster than me, that's fine. It's almost like we're taking the temperature down from too hot. And even though the level of your hands may reach toward the hips, just kind of once the hands are resting, continue as if going through the legs. So the water, imaginary level of water, drains all the way all around you. And you might say to yourself, either out loud or in your mind, a sentence. And the structure of this has a reason. It's important. I'm noticing, or I'm sensing, and whatever it is, it might be I'm sensing a little more freedom in my shoulders. That's an example. But be true to yourself and just see. It could be one thing you're sensing, or it might be several things. Feel free to be as specific as possible. And as you're saying it, just verify you're saying the words, you're reporting something about your experience, and also be noticing, is that true? Is it as accurate as you can get it, or is there something that rings a little more true? And this little practice that we're doing has a component of focusing in. We're focusing sort of on the experience that you're noticing in your body, your mind, your emotions, your heart. But it's also from this place of wide open, boundless awareness. And there is a feel, a knowing of how we can be at both of those at once. And of course, in day-to-day activities, that's a little harder to juggle, and we're usually more focused and a little harder to remember the boundless awareness part. And that's part of why we're here today, to really get to know that boundless awareness part of us, that it's always here. And we can always lean into that a little bit more to give us a little more freedom and clarity in what we're focusing on and enjoying or being involved with. And one of the things Russell said in his small, short talk was, we tend to have a feeling that many of us, and it's a restricted feeling, that we begin to think the outer world creates our experience. And then we can feel very trapped by that. And he said, when we're clear, when we're more grounded in awareness, we know that the outer is influencing our experience, but not creating it. And so if you feel like you need some movement in the hips, and for me, that's going to take, you can choose this. I'm going to share what I'm doing. It's going to be a very slight movement. I was going to do something bigger, but what I'm sensing I need now is just to stay more here and still. But I'll twist a little bit, just a little bit, and that will just give a little pull to my hips. Come back to center. And then twist in the other direction, just the tiniest little bit. It can be just a smidge. And you can feel the twist in other places, but in particular, you may notice down in the lower back and hips that this does. And you can let your legs move a little or lift, if that lift, or do something that in your arms. You can move your head a different way, opposite the twist or with the twist. Just very gentle is enough. And again, I'm always encouraging that there's a reason I'm offering what I am as in my guidance, but you're always free to, if you feel like, oh, I need a back and front movement, a hammock and rainbow movement, or cat and cow. And as you might be moving a little bit more for a little bit longer, fold in attention to the breath, the relaxation through the forehead and the back of the head, through the shoulders. And continue maybe a few more breaths, or you may be ready to just come to center, and we'll segue to breathing in a moment, to an intentional breathing pattern. And so this breathing pattern, if you'd like to join me like this, or however it works for you, will be a 4-part breath. But I'm adding a little bit of a visual that as we breathe in, the membranes, some of the membranes of our body at the throat, at the diaphragm, even, I think even at the crown of the head, this happens. As we breathe in, these membranes go downward. And you don't need to be taking a deeper in-breath, the membrane at the pelvic floor. So there's a downward pull, so following with your attention downward, and a pause at the bottom. And then as we exhale, a little bit of a lift through those inner membranes, and then a pause at the top. So a simple visual, if you'd like to add that to the 4-part breathing. And just comfortable. If it feels like you'd like to challenge yourself and just take that little more time in the pause, it's not harmful to do so, and it's a good practice, a good play with the breath. So you can just let the breath be as natural as possible, or you can amplify, lengthen to whatever degree feels fun. Just for maybe another minute of this simple 4-part breathing. And just as I've been suggesting with the wide open, boundless awareness, just staying open around the periphery and all your senses to all that's coming in, touching you, going through, leaving. And then once you're ready, you can just come to a stop of following and orchestrating this particular practice. And once again, just land in this scenic inner and outer look. And perhaps report, I'm noticing, and what you're noticing. I'm sensing. This gives us a little bit of a removal from feeling too much identified with the temporary, the smaller, that sometimes can feel like the all. So, and you can even do it twice removed. I'm noticing something in me that's whatever it is. And that's a way our language can help us remember that wholeness of ourself. And then make any adjustment you need to embark on the stillness portion. You can stay seated or change your position or just get a little more cozy where you are, relaxed, what support you need. And I know you have all the tools you need for this next part and our mutual support. And I'm not sure of the connection of why I'm choosing this poem, but I feel, in fact, I won't even say my guess of why, but maybe it'll speak to you of sort of along the theme of what we're doing today. Simply Lit by Malena Morling. often toward evening, after another day, after another year of days, in the half dark on the way home, I stop at the food store. And waiting in line, I begin to wonder about people. I wonder if they also wonder about how strange it is that we are here on earth, and how in order to live we must sleep, and how we have beds for this, unless we are without, and entire rooms where we go at the end of the day to collapse. And I think of how even the most lively people are desolate when they are alone, because they too must sleep sooner or later, and sooner or later die. We're always looking to acquire more food for more and for more great meals. We have to have great meals. Isn't it enough to be a person buying a carton of milk, a simple package of bread, of butter, and a loaf of whole wheat bread? Isn't it enough to stand here while the sweet middle-aged cashier rings up the purchases? I look outside, but I can't see much out there because now it is dark, except for a single vermilion neon sign floating above the gas station, like a miniature temple, simply lit against the night. I have about 3 more minutes together on this silent journey. So, like in many mystery stories, sometimes there are those in the story who jump to the convenient conclusion. They want to solve it and check it off not have the open case still on the whiteboard. And then there's usually the persistent detective who knows something doesn't quite fit. So all this to tie in how the background of my inspiration from the movie Sheep Detectives is still back there. And how that persistence to, okay, well, we've got all those clues, we've got that evidence, but it's very useful to be a little patient, look a little more, tap into that wide open boundless awareness. Go with our hunches that something else might be more true right here. And then one more metaphor I can't help sharing. It's been coming to me all morning, this idea that our teacher, Adyashanti, our meditation teacher, shares once in a while, that we have this sense that we forget that we are as vast as the universe, or we are the universe, or that is our nature. And we are like try to shove the whole universe into a jacket and into this form of clothing, something so limited. And when we can remember that, we're like, yeah, I'm bigger than that. And we help each other with that. Fellow travelers, I bow to you. Fellow detectives and travelers, life detectives. All right, enjoy your summer afternoon. Thank you again, everyone who's here. I will send the poem by the email through those of you registered with Sun and Moon. I can put it on the YouTube notes, and I'll try to find. Russell writes roughly an essay a month, and it might be, sometimes it's themed with what he shares in his our community talks, our community meetings. So I'll send you something of his as well, a link to his essay. Right, I will say goodbye to the YouTube folks. See you next time. You can always find me here. Whoops, can't end the stream. It's not letting me end.